I'm a northerner, so even if you just sit down and have a cup of tea, you
know,
just
nice
a cup of tea
and a chat.
yeah.
I think that solves
yeah.
everything.
Just a cup of tea, yeah.
There's two questions that I wanted to answer for all of us, really, is what advice would we give to somebody that is listening to this, that is struggling with their mental health right now? I can give you all the spiel that and all the advice, which is really helpful advice, in our jobs about calling and, getting in touch with your doctor, calling 111 during crisis.
Yeah.
I can give you that.
Anything life-threatening.
Most people are not at that level, luckily. Most people have this underlying, they know they've got these racing thoughts, they've got this thing going on, but they don't know where to start. And I think that's where my book came from. The idea was my 30-day mindset reset book is, if you want to start here. Start with 30 days. Yeah. And I'll take you through step by step. We'll talk about your mind and talk about your thought patterns, talk about your habits, talk about your space, talk about music, talk about frequencies, talk about how the brain works. And my book, over those 30 days, I'm hoping if someone says to me, where do I start, Nettie? Because I've had that question asked me a lot, particularly colleagues at work, actually, which have been hugely supportive to me and all of this, actually, I must say that. Where do I start, Nettie? What do I do? I've never heard of it. How do I meditate? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by this?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping with my book, is that I'll say, okay, this is where you start. Start with that, and then have a look at that, and then that way may guide you out into something else that was, and like we were saying before, talking about you do yours through fitness, you do yours through all your counselling and all your different things that you do, and I do mine through my writing, and now sort of on social media I'm trying to promote that daily, because that's been my goal over the last couple of months. Daily is to put something out every day.
But I think if a person can just find something that they love doing, whether it be through, I mean, running's not for everybody, but even walking can be significant if you just go out 15 minutes one way, 15 minutes the other way, because just being out in the fresh air will do you the world of good anyway. But if it's not that, if it's writing, if it's art, if it's listening to music, whatever, it's finding that distraction, what works for you as an individual.
Yeah.
And just spending a little bit of time distracting your mind from the noise.
Yeah. And quietening.
Yeah.
Sometimes when my brain is really super busy, I will shut my eyes and visualize a dial in front of me. And that is my noise in my head dial. And I will physically, like, you've got your 10, you've got your numbers going all the way around to 0. I will turn it, because at 10 is like super loud volume. Everything's going around here. It's too much going on. I will physically manually turn that dial down to sort of a 3, see what's comfortable with me. Yeah. Can I push it down to a 2? And that kind of psychologically quietens my thoughts down and slows me down.
But it's that distraction as well, isn't it? Because you're moving your mind to that place.
Yes.
And distracting it. And that's what a lot of people find difficult to do, is finding that little bit of time to just distract themselves.
Yeah, finding time, and also doing stuff that gives you joy and happiness.
Even half an hour. Like,
literally
20 minutes, like anything. Just put a bit of music in your ear, dance around your kitchen, anything you can do just to switch your brain off for a little bit, and it all goes far. The hardest thing is, especially where a fitness thing, like with walking and getting out of your house in the first place, is the first couple of weeks. Because once you've got into doing it every day or doing it every 3 times a week, you'll love it in the end. And
because you'll enjoy the feeling.
You'll enjoy the feeling of it afterwards.
Yeah.
Just the hardest thing is just getting out of your door and doing them things that you love.
Lovely. else do you want to add to that? So what
Yeah.
advice would you give people? Where do they start?
I would actually start by asking them, where do you feel like you need to start? I think
good question.
I love the fact that counselling has what it does is, so Carl Rogers, who not invented as such, but came up with the idea of person-centered therapy, he honestly believes that everyone can reach self-actualization themselves. We have within us the tools and the want to be where we want to be. We're so oppressed and suppressed by societal conditioning, what we were told is when we were children, that we feel like we don't have the power to get to where we want. And actually, everyone does.
Yeah.
Honestly believe that everyone does.
I think everyone's got it within
Everybody
them.
has.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're asking, where do I start?
Yeah.
You've got that drive.
Yeah.
You've got it.
They're
the
recognising
passion
it, aren't
is there,
they?
and they're
Yeah,
recognising it. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's the first step, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
recognising your those patterns.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you, like you were saying, that you were in trauma, you were up and dissociated, and I
Absolutely.
can relate to that because so was I, in trauma the whole time and dissociating and sort of not in your body ever. But at one stage in my life, and it's generally actually, I'm thinking because of your age, around 30, when you get to 30 and then you head into your 40s, then you're starting to get to recognize, and you start questioning, and you move into a different phase of your life. Your 20s, busy, and you're just going with it. And then when you're heading into your 30s, you start questioning like the meaning of life, and why do I always feel like this? And how can I can't stop these thought patterns. I want to die. I don't want to be here. Those are thoughts that came into my head daily. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to die.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd have those thoughts I would wake up instantly thinking, I don't want to be here. I wish, and disappointed I'd woken up.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wake up. But then it got to a point, then I started searching for that. Well, how do I change this? What do I do? Where do I start? And I suppose my turning sort of pivot point was this book with Gabby. But it's a turning, and your turning point was your fitness.
Yeah.
That was you just getting out for a little bit and everything.
Yeah.
What was have you got a turning point moment?
I was in the same place as you, actually. So I can't remember, I would have been about 30. And I think that's quite a pivotal age for a lot of people, because the brain is not actually fully developed until 27, 28.
Yes.
And then we start questioning things.
Yeah.
A lot of people start their journeys much, much younger for different reasons. For me, I wasn't aware of what was going on until I reached about 30. I was waking up every day going, I really don't want to be here. And I'd been on different types of medication over the years, tried different, like group therapy, nothing helped. And I was like, only I can do this. And I had this voice in my head, and this voice has come to me a couple of times since at differing times. But this voice said to me, like, there is more to life than this.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, how do I go about proving that to myself?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's Brené Brown that says, what we believe, we will look for. So if I believe that I'm not good enough, my brain will look for things that prove that.
Yeah.
To prove ourselves right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
So for me, that voice saying that, I ended up leaving a fairly unhealthy relationship. I started going to talk therapy with someone who, she's an amazing therapist. I saw her for nearly 3 years. And she focused on her thing was person-centered and a little bit of Gestalt therapy. So we don't have to go into those right now, but that was kind of my journey. About 18 months in, I had, I think it was around the time of COVID as well, I was doing my counselling, my level 2 counselling certificate. And we were in lockdown. I was still working as a veterinary nurse. And I had what I'm guessing, what I know now was kind of like a dark night of the soul. which is what is. But for me, what that was realizing, after going to, I think I'd been seeing my therapist for about 18 months, was realizing that only I have the power to change me and how I see the world and how I engage with it. And the only way I really do that is by building my self-awareness. So I would say to people, look at your attachment style, because your attachment style, which was developed in the ages of 0 to 3, that's how you engage with the world. It's not just how you engage with other people and yourself. It's how you engage with everything.
Yeah.
And looking at attachment theory to me was, really helped.
Like change your life.
As well as doing, so I did my talk therapy, then I did EMDR, then I did IFS, so parts therapy. And then, so like hypnotherapy as well. So many different things, and alongside all of that, the shamanic stuff like soul
and
retrieval.
I think the thing to remember as well, if you are suffering like with your mental health, with depression, because I've been there where you've got a black cloud and you can't lift it up, that it doesn't have to be forever. There are things you can do, whether it's talking therapies, whether you do it for yourself, or whether it's medication, if you go and see your doctor, whatever. It doesn't have to last forever.
It doesn't.
It's harder to fix than what we see, broken bones or whatever. They're easily fixable. But your brain is not so. But it doesn't have to be forever, because you can get better
ways.
from it.
You can learn ways.
You can
to manage your thought patterns and your thought processing. There are, you can learn your patterns and recognize them. Analyze them a little bit, then change your, that's why I bang on about thought. It all starts with a thought. That's why my Facebook page says it all begins with a thought, because it does. It literally all began because a thought changes into a feeling, changes into an action, which changes then, if you do it enough times, changes into a belief. And that goes negatively and positively. Like with your I am not enough. That's why, I had the complete same reasons of I'm not enough and I'm not perfect, of changing. And I still say, we still do it now. We're not perfect. I on a daily basis, I've got to have a word with myself.
Tell myself off every day.
Have a word. And that you and that's where my daily habits of I get up early-ish. I try and get up before my shift, and I do my meditation before my shift. Even if it's just 10, 15 minutes, I'll shut myself in the bedroom, I'll do my meditation, then I start my day. I don't write every day, and social media seems to have taken over my life at the minute, even though that's still writing and creating. And it's just in a different way than when I was writing the book. And then when I was sort of doing other kinds of writing. But it's doing something small every single day for yourself, whether that is your running, whether that's your meditation, whether that's writing, whether that's listening to music, something every day that lifts you.
And 20 minutes, joy. Half an hour can make a world of difference.
I think even just if you've gone from nothing to... because I have heard it's not recommended if you've got deep trauma to meditate for more than 15 minutes if you're not used to it.
Yeah, because you can go into dark
exactly.
places.
So 2 to 5 minutes as a start is perfect.
Yes.
I would say to people.
It doesn't
2 to 5 minutes. Even if you just sat there, breathing and just watching your breath.
Yeah.
And I am a northerner, so even if you just sit down and have a cup of tea,
a nice cup of tea and a chat. I think that sounds everything.
Just a cup of tea, that fixes,
have a cup of tea and a chat. And that's it, that was the other thing I wanted to say actually, is connection with other humans, connection with people that you trust, people, your friendship group, getting out, quiet or getting out. I've just started a meditation group actually. I never thought I would be doing something like that, but actually I'm really loving it.
Well, I think you thrive on pressure, Nettie, from what I've heard after today. You definitely
literally.
thrive on it, my love.
I know, yeah. Where does that come
I
from?
know.
I think that comes deep down from my trauma. We'll analyse that.
Yeah.
I'll write about that one. Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right. I do thrive on trauma.
pressure.
I think anybody that does our jobs, you know,
We do.
that when you're in the police force, when you're in any kind of emergency service, we must thrive on pressure. But also what I'm really aware of, and that's why I try and look after my colleagues as much as I can, you know, and sort of talk to people, is because we're pushing all of this trauma somewhere in our bodies. We're holding what we're seeing. We don't see normal things on a daily basis. It's not normal to see what we see on a daily basis, is it? But I know we come into it and we're all confident and we take charge and everybody thinks we're wonderful, which, you know,
We are.
we are. And calm and everything. But what they don't see is the person when I get home.
Yeah.
You know, you put on
When
your
you take your
mask,
boots
when you
off
take
and
that uniform off, when you take your boots off, they're not seeing when I shut the door and I'm at home and the uniform's off, and then I'm processing.
Yeah.
What have I just been doing?
Yeah, exactly.
What have I just done? So my brain will tick, 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 tick over that and process that. And then my body is holding it somewhere. So we're all doing that in these jobs. Whatever kind of job you're doing, whether you work with children, whether you work in the emergency services, we're all holding it somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's finding little gentle ways of just releasing it. And that's why another reason is just finding joy in our lives, finding happiness. What gives you joy? What is it?
And
I think
finding
that's a
just
key
the little
point.
things.
Yeah.
Just finding little
joy
things
in life.
exciting, you know?
Because they do say that recovery from trauma, you're not recovering from trauma so that you can deal with more trauma. You're recovering from trauma so that you can deal with pleasure and joy.
Yes.
Because those are
you
the
don't
things
enjoy
that you
it
weren't
otherwise.
allowed. Yeah, exactly.
Because you can
I
be in
like
the
that,
most joyful of places and with the most loveliest people. There's my chin just banging a thing there. You could be in the most loveliest places and be in the most joyful environments, like, you know, a celebration of a party or a wedding, you know, and things like that, but feel the absolute, you don't feel that joy. I think, you know, I suppose when you've got deep-seated trauma, PTSD, that kind of needs to be dealt with first.
Absolutely.
Before I fit, you know, my advice would be get that dealt with first, get advice about that. And then you can then move on to, because then your brain will be allowed to move, you'll allow your brain to move on to then noticing the joyful things, being grateful, being appreciative. Because it's a continuous daily practice. It is
And
for
telling
me.
yourself that you deserve it.
Yes.
That I think that was a big turning point for me, was telling myself, I deserve this. I deserve to feel good
Yes.
about myself, about what I'm doing, to do things that do actually bring me joy
Yes.
in here, and say no to the things that in here make me feel a bit like, oh, I'm not so sure. So
Yeah.
you deserve it.
Yeah, that's right. And I think a lot of people don't think they do. And I still don't think I do half the time. And I kind of think, no. And I kind of like stop myself. I literally stop my thought patterns. It's like, because I recognize that I'm going down that tunnel, going down that rabbit hole. It's like, no, stop thinking that. And then I try and reverse it. Okay, what am I grateful for right now?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this. This is great. What's really nice has happened today. You know, and I try and rack my brain for something that will lift me. If that doesn't work, music goes on.
Yeah. Music goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for you. You go out for a run and pound the
No, but
pavement.
music as well. Yeah. Even my husband knows that. If it, you know,
Movement's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
I would say to
important.
people, like, always remember that you're not just a mind. Remember this body connection as well.
Yeah.
is a
Because
body
they speak to
connection.
each other,
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Kirsty for your time.
You're
It's
very
been
welcome. It's been a
just-
pleasure. Nettie.
This has
Thank you.
just been really great, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect because it's the first time that I've done this.
Mhm.
And so thank you for your time and your honesty and
You're
everything. I
welcome.
really
Yeah,
appreciate
It's been a
that.
pleasure. Thank you
And
for inviting me. Yeah.
You're more than welcome. You're more
Yeah.
than welcome. And thank you, Yaz, for all your insights. Oh my
Welcome.
gosh.
I know.
So
Thank you.
much insights. Well
Yeah, no, it's
done.
really
Well
lovely
done
to
for
be here.
stepping up as well.
Yeah.
with less than a week's notice,
Yeah.
which I think is sometimes better because then you haven't
Yeah.
had so much to
Yeah.
sort of process.
I didn't
go
allow
straight
myself to
in.
plan anything. I
Yeah.
was just like, nope. Just
I kind of put a
be
plan
there.
in place because I kind of thought I should. But actually, I haven't stuck to that at all. I have kind of roughly, I think we've answered the questions that I wanted to talk about. But it's interesting. It just kind of happens naturally, actually.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the next podcast, whatever that would be and whenever that would be. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nettie.
You're more than welcome.